What if I told you that your future home is already being built right now in a factory while workers are simultaneously preparing the land? That's not science fiction, that's modular construction. And it's completely rewriting the rules of how homes get built in 2026. Now, most people still picture home building the same way their grandparents did. You buy a plot of land, you hire a contractor, you watch crews hammer boards together in the rain for 8 or 9 months, and you hope the weather cooperates and the budget doesn't explode. That process made sense for a long time, but it was never actually efficient. It was just the only option we had. Modular construction flips that entire model on its head. And once you understand how it works, you'll wonder why anyone builds any other way. Here's the core idea. A modular home is built in sections called modules inside a controlled factory environment. These sections are engineered to precise specifications, assembled with industrial-grade equipment, and inspected before they ever leave the building. Then they're transported to your property, crane lifted into position, and connected together. The result is a permanent foundation-anchored home that meets or exceeds the same building codes as many traditionally built homes. Now, let's talk about what makes this genuinely revolutionary. Because the benefits, they can stack up fast. Speed is the headline number. Traditional site-built construction averages somewhere between 7 and 12 months from breaking ground to move in. Depending on complexity and location, modular builds regularly cut that timeline to 3 to 4 months. Some straightforward projects have been completed even faster. The reason is simple. The factory production and site preparation happen at the same time. While your foundation is being poured on location, your walls, floors, roof sections, and interior finishes are simultaneously being assembled under a roof in a climate-controlled warehouse. You're essentially running two processes in parallel instead of one linear sequence. Weather is a construction killer that most people underestimate. Rain delays, freeze delays, high wind delays. When materials sit outside on a job site exposed to elements, you're dealing with potential warping, moisture intrusion, and quality inconsistency. Inside a factory, none of that exists. The environment is stable, the workflow is predictable, and the materials don't get compromised between stages of construction. Quality control is another area where modular construction holds a serious advantage. Factory settings allow for standardized inspection at every stage of the build. Each module gets checked before moving to the next phase. That level of systematic oversight is genuinely difficult to replicate when dozens of different subcontractors are cycling through an open-air site over the course of many months. All right, let's address the cost conversation, because this is where people often have misconceptions. Modular homes can cost less than traditional construction, but it's not always a dramatic difference on the front end. Where you really save the money is in reduced construction time, fewer weather-related setbacks, less material waste, and lower carrying costs because you're not paying for an extended mortgage or rent while your home is getting finished. The total economic picture, when you add all those factors together, tends to favor modular significantly. There's also an environmental dimension worth talking about. Factory construction generates substantially less material waste than site-built homes. Excess materials can be reused in subsequent builds rather than being tossed into a dumpster at the end of the project. Energy-efficient features can be built in at the manufacturing stage with great precision. And the reduced construction timeline means fewer vehicle trips, less equipment running time, and smaller overall footprint for the entire project. Now let's clear up the myth that still follows modular homes around. People confuse modular with manufactured or mobile homes, and they are completely different things. Manufactured homes are built to a federal HUD code and are designed to be transported and sometimes relocated. Modular homes are built to the same local and state building codes as many site-built houses, placed on a permanent foundation, and classified as real property exactly like a traditional home. They don't depreciate faster. They don't look like trailers. Modern modular designs range from modest starter homes to architecturally striking custom builds with open floor plans, cathedral ceilings, and high-end finishes. Design flexibility has expanded enormously in the recent years. Early modular construction was limited by what shapes could be efficiently transported on a flatbed truck. but manufacturers have gotten creative with how modules connect and stack. And now you can achieve complex roof lines, multi-story configurations, large open spaces, and custom layouts that would have been difficult or impossible to produce this way a decade ago. The industry has essentially caught up to consumer expectations. Here's something that doesn't get discussed enough. The skilled labor shortage in traditional construction is a growing crisis. Finding qualified framers, electricians, and plumbers, and roofers who can all show up at the right time in the right sequence is increasingly difficult in many regions. Factory-based construction concentrates that skilled labor in one location, working consistent schedules, producing higher output per worker. That's not just good for speed, it's good for long-term viability of the housing industry when labor is tight. For builders, developers, and municipalities trying to address housing shortages, modular construction represents something genuinely promising, that the ability to deliver more units in less time with predictable cost and reliable quality makes the approach attractive at scale. Entire communities and multifamily developments are now being planned around factory-built systems. So what does this mean for you if you're thinking about building a home? It means you have a legitimate alternative that deserves serious consideration. Ask builders in your area about modular options. Research manufacturers who operate regionally. Look at completed projects and talk to homeowners who have gone through the process. The stigma that once surrounded factory-built homes is fading fast, and the people who moved early on this trend are living in beautiful, well-built homes that cost them less time and less stress to bring to life. The future of home construction is already here. It's being assembled in a factory right now, waiting to be delivered to a piece of land near you. The only question is whether you'll be the one standing in the driveway when that crane lifts your new home into place. Want to experience the raw modular home build process to see if it's a fit for you? Click the link in the description.